Hello, hello. I'm Aaron Singer from Paradise Stronger. I have Elizabeth and Greg from MedSpire with me today. So excited to have them with us. They are from a group, an organization that kind of was born from the campfire that was really wanting to serve people and provide a free health clinic. We have a nurse practitioner and we have a mental health counselor with us. And they're going to share a little bit today about how our physical health can affect our mental health. So give them your full attention, and then we'll ask about questions when we get done. So the floor is yours.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Elizabeth, and I grew up in Magalia. I went to Paradise High School, and after the fire, as someone who's from this community, I really recognized that without any medical infrastructure, it was going to be hard for people to come back here. So we started this free medical clinic, which is called MedSpire Health. We do monthly, twice monthly clinics at different places around Magalia and Paradise. You've probably seen our signs. And our focus is on healthcare as a human right, that everybody has a right to high quality, low cost or free medical care, and nobody should be without care. So we never require identification, we don't take any payment, we don't require insurance. Anyone and everyone is welcome at all times. We also have telehealth. Our number is on our website, medspire.org. You can call us anytime if you have a healthcare need, and we can also talk to you over the phone. And with that, I'm going to hand it over to my colleague, Greg.
Thanks. So, hey, how's it going? I didn't meet you guys before. I'll chat with you in a minute. But yeah, my name's Greg, and I'm a mental health counselor. I work with youth. I grew up here in Paradise, and I was working here for a couple years before the fire, and now I work in Oroville with young people who have mental and behavioral health problems. And yeah, Elizabeth asked if I'd be willing to do kind of the talk for MedSpire at this event, and she told me it was called Walk with a Doc, and I'm like, well, I'm not actually a doctor, or like a licensed therapist even, so don't take my advice, I guess, as medical advice. But I have worked in mental health for about 5 years, and I've worked with a lot of young people and families in mental and emotional distress, so that's kind of my background with mental health. And yeah, when you asked me about doing this talk, it reminded me of this party I went to a while ago, and I was didn't know a lot of people, and I was talking to this lady, and we'd never met before, and I told her I worked in mental health, and she says, oh, I've got this nephew, and he's really having a hard time. He's got all these mental health problems. What do I do? Like, how do I help him? And I was like, okay, well, I don't know you, and I don't know your nephew. I don't know his context or any of his problems, and it sounds like you want me to come up with a treatment plan for him, and if I don't make it quick, you'll probably get bored in like a couple minutes, and so this is kind of a hard task. So I sort of flubbed my way through that conversation and just faked something else, but I thought about it a lot afterward. And so if you have mental health struggles, obviously see a professional, because just some general tips aren't going to match whatever individual context that you're working in, right? But I did think it over, and I thought there's really 3 things that I would advise everybody just needs to do in order to have good mental health, and they're actually not that common. It's kind of difficult to manage these things, especially in America, especially right now. It's really hard to get these 3 things going. I don't even do them all the time myself. But so my 3 things. The first thing that I think everyone really needs to have in place in order to have just decent mental health is sleep, diet, and exercise, which is so cliche, it's irritating to even hear. When people just say, have you drank enough water? Like, have you slept enough? It's like, no, stop nagging me about it, right? But obviously, it's just one of these things where it's like if you don't use your body at all, if you eat crap, and if you don't sleep, you're going to feel bad, and you're going to feel sad, and you're going to feel emotionally unwell. And the research is backing this up more and more. We're just learning how much more your body and your emotional health are connected. And I think, for me at least, and I think for a lot of us, when we hear that, you got to exercise, you got to get better sleep, it's just this guilt thing, and it can kind of make you feel worse. But what I advise is, just do something with your body that you enjoy some of the time. It doesn't have to be that hard. You don't have to, I don't know, commit to running a marathon. It's like go for a walk once a day. Try and be outside, you know, do some stretches, do some yard work, you know, do a little bit at a time. Just if you sit all day, you're going to feel bad, you know, emotionally. So that's the first thing. Seemingly easy, actually really hard for us to manage, sleep, diet, and exercise. Second thing, this one is a little bit harder, I find, and it's a bit rarer now too. I would say my second point is, in order to have good mental health, you should have or become a mentor to somebody. So if you're a younger person, you should try and find an older person in your life that you can respect and listen to, and talk with, and have sort of a regular, honest conversation with them. It can be a family member or a pastor or a mentor, or, you know, somebody you went to school with, an uncle. And it doesn't, I'm not saying find a perfect person, you know, just find someone you can talk with honestly. And if you're an older person, maybe that phase of your life is kind of past, where you're looking for guidance and help. Be a mentor to a younger person, you know, try and make yourself available to people who are trying to figure out their way. Like in my job, I'm not very old, you know, I'm 30. I have mentors that I speak with regularly, but I also mentor young people. And I'm not particularly, I don't know, wise or accomplished, but it's just, it's useful for me to feel like I have something to offer other people. And it's useful for the young people that I mentor to have somebody who's been there and, you know, can relate and just be honest with them. Really just having an honest conversation. A lot of people get this from their therapist, you know, and therapy's great. I think especially if you have a lot of serious trauma from your background, or a lot of recurrent problems that you can't seem to get over, talking to a therapist is really great. But it's not available for everybody sometimes. And I think sometimes we put mental health professionals on this pedestal where it's like they're the only ones who can help me with my problem. It's like, you know, really a lot of times we just need somebody who's older, who's been there, who's willing to listen to us, you know. So my second one is have a mentor or become a mentor. And then my third point, the third thing that I'd say everybody needs to have decent mental health, is probably the most important one, I think. And that is, you need to have a group of people that depend on you to show up and do a decent job. You need to have a community. You need to have a group of others that are going to notice if you don't show up to whatever event that you do regularly. You need to have people who are going to miss you when you're not present, you know. Already before the pandemic, it was really easy to just get clammed up in your house or clammed up in your apartment, you know, watch Netflix or do whatever alone. And being alone for too long, for protracted time, is just terrible for your mental health. We're human beings and we need one another, and we're not going to feel healthy and fulfilled if you live this very isolated life. And it's really important to feel like you have a role in these communities that you participate in. It doesn't have to be a huge role. Like, you can go set up chairs at church, or you can be a part of an AA meeting. You know, you can, I don't know, organize family functions, you know, cook dinner for your family, right? You need to be doing things for other people. And that's going to help you feel like I have something that matters, and I can contribute to other people. I have value. I'm important. And yeah, you're going to feel better when you start looking out into the world. Sometimes we get stuck thinking about all of our problems and our failures and our regrets and all these other things, and it's going to just tear you up inside. But when you can talk with other human beings, it's more manageable, because you're not necessarily healing those problems, but you're getting invested in other people. So that's my third thing. Sleep, diet, and exercise, having or becoming a mentor, and then getting involved with other people in a community, having an important role. Those are my three big points. I think if you can manage all those, you're going to be doing better than most Americans. And then one last point I just want to tack on. It's like, we think of mental health sometimes as, you know, good mental health means I'm always happy and I'm just blissed out and I have no problems, and I never get angry or sad or irritated or afraid. and that's the goal that I'm shooting for. And if I'm not happy all the time, there's something really wrong with my life or something really wrong with me as a person. And I just want to say that's not good mental health. Good mental health is when you're responding appropriately to the world around you, to your circumstances. You know, if you lose a loved one, you should feel sad. You know, you should feel a lot of things, but one of the things you should feel is grief. If you lose something that's valuable to you and you don't feel any sadness, that's not healthy. It means that maybe that thing wasn't as important to you as you thought, or I don't know, there's something else going on. If you feel really angry about something, it means that you care about something, and that's good. You should care about things. It means that there's some right that you want to be, some wrong you want to be righted. You know, some wrongdoing has taken place and it needs to be resolved. So, you know, if you set up this expectation for just being happy all the time, you're going to be miserable because you'll never hit it, and you always feel like, I'm not good enough, I'm not good enough, I'm not good enough. You're always working towards that impossible goal. Your goal is to respond appropriately to the world around you. You know, one last thing that I say to my clients a lot is feelings, emotions, they're kind of like the weather. Sometimes it rains, sometimes it's sunny, comes and goes. There's not a lot of control you have over that. You know, some days you're going to feel bad. Some days you're going to feel sad. There are things you can do. You know, you can buy an umbrella. You can go indoors. You can, I don't know, get outside when it's sunny and enjoy it. But if you don't give yourself permission to feel upset sometimes, you're just going to make it worse. You know, you're going to prolong this suffering. You know, I find that sometimes we get in this point where it's like, I just feel sad today, and you kind of say, get over it, Greg, or like, get back to work, you're bringing everybody down, or you're irritable, you know, you're snapping at other people. And it can just be a guilt thing again. You're just like, get better, get better, get better. It's not going to help, you know. Really, one of the best things you can do is just acknowledge it. You know, I feel sad today. I don't like it. I don't want to feel sad, but it's fine. I'm just going to be sad, you know. Maybe tomorrow the sun will come out and I'll feel a little bit better. And maybe not, you know, we have these, if you have an anger disorder, if you have depression, these are like prolonged periods of suffering, you know, where it's like this emotion shouldn't be here for this long. I'm angry all the time. That to me says that deserves some attention, you know, that's when you should, you know, think about seeing a professional. But you know, if you're feeling sad and angry sometimes, it means you're paying attention. It means you care about stuff. That's fine. Just kind of go easy on yourself a little bit. So that's all that I had to say. That's my mental health elevator pitch. And yeah.
Do you have anything to add?
I think the one thing I want to add is that our organization, MedSpire Health, we place a really strong emphasis on mental health. We can see you for your blood pressure and your blood sugar, but if there are a lot of other things going on and you're not, you know, well in your mind, it's going to be hard to address the physical, your physical wellness as well. So I think it's just as important, if not more important, than physical health, and they're so interconnected.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, there's this like research problem where they show that people are happier who exercise more. They're correlated, but they don't. It's kind of a chicken and the egg thing, where it's like, are people happier because they exercise more, or are they capable of exercising more because they feel happier? You know, it's not really entirely sure. Obviously, it's probably a little bit of both, but yeah, they're tied together. So.
Thank you guys so much for having us.
I'm going to see if there's any questions real quick before
yeah.
I let you go. See if there's any questions on here. But I have a question for you. Sometimes people say, I'm just going to take a shower just to kind of start my day, and that actually helps to, you know, change my mood. What do you say about people like that? How does that work? What is that about?
Just don't disregard the small things you do to make yourself feel better. Yeah, some things that I do is I go out in my yard and I just sit outside for a minute. You know, I take some deep breaths. I take a shower. I don't know. It doesn't have to be big things. You know, have a cup of coffee. I don't know. These are coping skills. You know, some are better than others. Some are going to cause you more long-term problems. Like, you know, oh, I'm going to drink some whiskey or whatever. You know, like that's a way people cope, and that's fine even in moderation. But I guess like don't disregard the little things you do for yourself. Going for a walk can really change your perspective, and that can change your whole day. So, yeah.
Any questions from people here? So great to have both of you here. I'm glad that you guys are offering this amazing service. Thank you for your insight, your input, and thank you for being here today. And we're going to go for a walk. So if you're watching right now, my admin mission to you is to go for a walk. Get outside, do exactly what he just talked about. It'll do your body good. Have a great day.